like to start by saying that I am not telling people that drugs are safe and that everyone should use drugs. However, my parents, the school, the government and the police did everything they could to persuade me not to use drugs. It didn't work. You cannot stop someone from using a drug. Like my parents, you cannot follow your children everywhere they go. You can't stop your child's friends from pushing drugs on them. And you can't stop dealers from selling drugs to them. So what information is out there for someone who chooses to take a drug? A drug dealer will not hand over health and safety leaflets when he hands over a bag of ecstasy. I've seen too many deaths recently blamed on drugs, but the full story is not being told. Every death has been because of abuse and overdose, not because of the individual drugs. So if I can stop just one person from dying tonight from my advice with this information, at least I will have done more than the government, who are not prepared to give out proper education. The government say drugs will kill you. So why are people using drugs? Because drugs are not killing people. We say that if you drink bleach it will kill you, and the fact is if you drink bleach it will burn your throat. You will begin to foam at the mouth as you suffocate in agony. You will suffer internal bleeding. You will die. Taking an ecstasy tablet will not kill you, for the same reason that driving a car will not kill you. However, if rules are not followed, the risk of dying is increased. If you've just found out your child takes drugs, please don't lose your temper with them. Don't treat them as criminals. Don't treat them as outcasts. Many of my friends' parents did that and pushed them straight into the gangs. Now they are either seriously involved within the gang, they are in prison, or they are dead. You need to talk to them properly. You need to let them know the dangers of abusing and misusing drugs. Let them know the difference between getting high every now and then and becoming an addict or a drug abuser. Let them know the difference between using a drug and committing a true crime. From my own personal experiences, when I was a rebelling 15-year-old and was told by the school I was a worthless druggie that will amount to nothing, when I was labelled a criminal and called the dregs of society, believe me, it did not create a loving, caring person. It created an angry, drugged-up youth who thought I really don't care anymore. You do not want your child to do the things that I have done. You certainly don't want your child to be where some of my friends are today. The first point I need to make clear to anyone thinking of using any drug is that everyone reacts to each drug differently. I, for example, become highly aggressive and violent when I drink alcohol, but I react perfectly fine to cannabis. Some of my friends become paranoid when they use cannabis, but they react perfectly fine to alcohol. I personally enjoy the hallucinogenic effects from magic mushrooms and LSD. It is one of my favourite type of high. But some of my friends hate it. They like the effects from ketamine, and I hate that. So no drug is about what your friends take or how they react to the drug. It's about how your own body and mind react and what kind of high you want and enjoy. Don't ruin your life by being a stereotype. Using drugs does not make you a bad person. Just because you smoke cannabis does not mean you have to assault people or go out causing trouble. Taking cocaine will not make you a terrorist. The same reasons that drinking alcohol does not mean that you have to drink and drive. When someone commits a crime under the influence of alcohol, the person is blamed. But if someone commits a crime under the influence of drugs, the drug is blamed. Please remember that you are responsible for your own actions under the influence of any drug. Legal status has no relevance whatsoever. You can be respectable, honest, and hard-working while responsibly using recreational drugs. If you do choose to use any drug, don't be stupid, be safe. The first rule is, Do not let anyone pressure you to use any drug. Before you even think about taking any drug, research it as much as you can. Find out the full effects and risks, then really think hard about whether to take it or not. Rule 2. Do not mix drugs. You would not mix painkillers or antibiotics with alcohol. The same principles applies to drugs. All drugs are medication and should be used responsibly. Rule 3. Do not overuse drugs. There are many drugs, legal ones included, when used responsibly in moderation, are not addictive. However, if they are overused in excessive amounts or over long periods of time, you may build up a dependency, addiction, or get serious health risks. Rule 4. If you ever feel things are getting out of hand, stop everything. Get help and get advice. Do not be ashamed to be a drug user. You are a normal person who uses drugs. You are no different to someone with an alcohol problem. Rule 5. No money, no drugs. Many drug dealers will offer you tick, tab or slate. They'll say you can pay me for it next week, when you have no cash. Please remember, you will be in debt with a drug dealer. Anything can happen if you don't pay, including beatings, broken limbs or death.